Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Game Pass Grab Bag, your weekly podcast bringing you games from the Game Pass Grab Collection. I am obviously not Andrew, hence why I have no idea what I'm supposed to say here. Although I guess I kind of sound like Andrew, but he's on vacation this week, so Aaron and I are here, and we're doing a Sidequest episode, talking just some Xbox news, gaming news, other fun stuff, bringing you content. So Aaron's here with me as always.
I love that you've been on this podcast for how many years, and you do not know the dang intro at this point. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't know it either, but you've been here since the beginning.
True, but you have to understand that I don't pay attention until I hear my name. I'm usually on my phone. I'm usually preparing something else, not doing anything, and I hear my name, and it's like, oh, hey, I am here. I'm like a 90s sitcom, like, hey.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Andrew, it's like clearly second nature. He can like recite that thing with his eyes closed. I just kind of expected a little more from you, Keith. That was a big fun. You don't even know where to find the music.
And this is the first time I've ever done this in my defense.
Wow.
The only other time I hosted an episode was Andrew was still here. So this is actually our first Andrew-free episode.
Wow, this is wild. Yeah,
it's
sorry to let everyone
taken
down.
6 years to kick him off.
Jeez, really sorry to let everyone down today.
Yeah, so, sorry to let everyone down. Andrew is not here. He's on vacation, visiting family. He's with us in spirit. He's not visiting Aaron, not that family,
No.
the family he cares about. So, yeah. So you just got us tonight. So, yeah, we're talking news.
Yeah, we're not reviewing a game, just to be clear.
No, but we are talking games. So, I don't know. I figured I'd kick us off with, maybe the biggest news of the week so far. You had posted it on our Reddit page, Aaron, but Splitgate 2 is unlaunching. So they are going back into a beta. And all I have to say is I'm glad that we are the voice of change in this world, because I feel like this was our doing. They listened and they were like, you know what? Andrew said this is a wildly average game. And
yeah,
they're like, we gotta do something. This Andrew doesn't like it.
Yeah, that was the last game we reviewed, right? Was it Splitgate?
It might have been.
Wow, because we record these episodes kind of a week before they come out. You're typically moving on to something else before that episode even comes out. So I tend to kind of get stacked up a little bit and get a little confused. But we didn't review anything because Andrew wasn't here. So Splitgate, I believe, was the last game that we reviewed. I was more positive on it than you guys were. But the criticism's not wrong. It is pretty thin in comparison to what games are launching with, especially if they're free to play. Free to play games, they gotta hook you. And truthfully, especially with a game like Splitgate 2, it's kind of got one opportunity to get it right. Like you can only what's the phrase? You only get one introduction or something like that. One first impression.
Sounds about right. Yeah,
you only get one first impression, and that unfortunately was not good enough for a lot of people. So pretty much since its launch, it's been in kind of a death spiral of just everyone leaving the game as quickly as they got into it. And I don't think it was because it's a bad game. I still stand by that. I still think there's nothing like it out there right now. So I still stand by that. There's nothing like Splitgate right now that you can go play. I guess maybe the closest that is, I mean, if you say actively being worked on as Halo, as just like an arena shooter multiplayer game. So it will stay active. I believe it's still on Game Pass. So you can still play it. It's just going to be considered in beta. I don't know what this changes, though. What does that change?
See, that was kind of my thought, right? To me, in a way, like, I think it's interesting because I think it's almost more of a publicity stunt, is I guess what I kind of feel like it is. Like, sure, they'll roll the version numbers back. It'll probably go, 0.90 or something. They'll whatever. But anybody who's worked in software knows that number is meaningless. It is nothing more than a way to identify something. So, like, ignore whatever the version number actually says. They'll roll that back. They'll call it a beta. And it does two things. It basically gives them a free reign to be like, oh, if this sucks a little bit, sorry, just a beta. So in a way, it's kind of lazy, but it, I don't know. I think it's the public admission, and I think especially because we talked about this on the Splitgate episode, was the arrogance that he walked out on the stage, and that was what just drove everybody off of immediately. They hated the fact that he was so big on, we're changing games, we're going to make first person shooters great, and then they come out with this, and it's like, well, it's fine, but you didn't do anything to reinvent or make first person shooters great again, something that already wasn't not great. We have a lot of great first person shooters out there right now. So I thought that, it is a weird statement. So I think it's just a little bit of him showing humility. So it's like a publicity thing more than anything.
Yeah, I think that's probably a pretty decent call, where this is them just, nothing's going to change. You can literally download the game right now. You can jump in and play it as is. In fact, today, I believe they launched a patch that updated a bunch of stuff for, I want to say it was for the weapon camo challenges, which was just one of their most recent updates, was adding that in there. So they added more to it. So it was kind of odd that, the day before, hey, we're going back into beta, and then boom, here's an update for it. Obviously not a large scale update. But why this stuff always becomes so murky to me anyway, it's just in the current state of video games, especially when it comes to free-to-play games. Usually they launch a beta, it's open, so anybody can get into it, and you just play it until one day they just tell you it launched. Nothing's changed. You've been playing it, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I guess this is the launch of the game. But you're right. I believe that this is probably way more of a sign of humility and just saying, yeah, there's not enough here. This is not refined enough. They've been spending all this time kind of squashing bugs. Anytime they've gotten out and have done kind of like a round table talk about it, they basically said everything's on hold until they can get the game into a stable state. So maybe it was just a realization that, hey, this death spiral is not going to get better. The question is, you relaunching it, is that going to work? It's so far, I can only think of one example where this has happened, and that was recently with the Warner Brothers Multiverses game. Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
You could play as Bugs Bunny, Batman, Scooby-Doo, and it was a Super Smash Brothers style game, free to play. It was wildly popular in beta, canceled, and then I want to say it was 2 or 3 years later relaunched, died after 6 months. So, that's really the only recent example I could think of where this has happened. I hope it doesn't happen with this again. I like this game. I'd like it to stick around. It's a really fun chill out game for me, but you only get one first impression. So who knows who's coming back to this?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the biggest thing is if it comes back, it's going to have to come back and hit. Because if it doesn't hit day one, if there's server issues, if it's basically the same content, if it's just anything close to what we had today, it's an immediate fail. There's no way that anybody will stick around for more than that. But I was going to say too, I wonder, like you said, it's funny that there was this, we're relaunching to beta and then an update the next day. I go back to, I think this is all pretty calculated. I think that's a smart move and probably well timed and well planned to say, okay, we have this push that we're going to do anyways. Let's announce this the day before, still launch update. And so people immediately get confidence that even though it's a beta, hey, I still just got new content the very next day. It's just seems very smart and not even malicious or anything, just smart timing.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously, I can't imagine these things are all, incidental. I will give, again, the developer some props here. You guys can say whatever you want about the arrogance of it. I'm sure he probably feels that way right now too. I will give them props. When they made the announcement on X yesterday, I was scrolling through and they probably responded to 40 plus comments on there, and they ranged from, you guys are garbage, I hope your game never comes back, you guys have burned all your goodwill forever. They responded to every single one of those. And then somewhere they were genuinely like, hey, dude, I hope you guys figure it out because I've had a lot of fun with this. I hope to see you guys back. They responded to every single one of them and took their lumps. And, they admitted, yes, this was not good enough. This, we deserve all the heat we're getting for it. So I give them props for doing that as well. You can come out and be all arrogant, but if you get it blown up in your face, you should be able to go back there and say, yeah, I screwed up.
Yeah, it's good to see they are. I mean, they openly admitted where they were at fault, or where they feel like they were wrong, and kind of acknowledged points of the community. The transaction system, the lack of really overall content. It was all acknowledged, and I think that says something. So,
yep,
we'll see. Hopefully, who knows? Maybe
I think next year. I think they said next year is when they plan on launching it again.
Yeah, it said head down until early next year, and then I don't know. But I guess if it's still around, we're just going to get updates. I don't know. But who knows? We shall see. And maybe we'll get a Splitgate 2 on Game Pass Graphic.
Maybe.
But yeah, other news I come across. I was looking, and sounds like that Outer Worlds is now announced that they'll be dropping the prices on their game. So it's coming down to $70, sounding like they're going to be reversing some course on this kind of let's make everybody pay more for games push. So
I've seen some interesting takes on this one too. So obviously this was announced and it was immediately controversial. Xbox tried to lead into this a little bit. They announced ahead of time that some of their games will be moving to the $80 price structure. And again, the only person you have to blame right now is Nintendo. Nintendo did this with Mario Kart. They opened it up for everybody else to just start pricing their games at $80. And, I'm sure Mario Kart's still great because it was the game that launched with the Switch too. So it probably made a lot of money. I think the writing was on the wall here, though. I think there was enough pushback that they're looking at those pre-order numbers right now and going, maybe this wasn't the game to price at $80. Because remember, this is launching not just on Xbox, not just on Game Pass. This will be launching on PlayStation as well. So they're probably expecting a massive number because this is PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. So they're expecting the whole community of gaming will have access to this. And they're probably looking at those numbers and going, crap. So they're refunding everybody that did pay the $80. They're refunding them their $10 back. So that's nice, I guess. Yeah, but this is not over. Part. This isn't over. I think this just wasn't the right game. I think what they're going to do is they're going to wait for a game that is going to be bigger than Outer Worlds. I still think, again, that the whole $10 thing is a little overblown to me, but this is coming from me who doesn't care. I'll kind of pay whatever for games. It doesn't really bother me one way or the other. But kind of an interesting choice to go and do something like this. Keith, are you excited for that? I mean, you're going to get it on Game Pass anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter.
I was just gonna say it changes nothing for me because it's gonna be on Game Pass day one, so I'll be playing it for free anyhow. But I do think it's good to see. I just don't think it's I get what you're saying is, how much does the $10 really matter? But we probably said the same thing, 10 years ago when it was $60 a game, and then it went to $70 a game, and then it's going to $80 a game, and the economy changes, things fluctuate up. I totally understand that, but I think it's going too quickly, and it's wild too that in the same year where Xbox is already like, hey, record-breaking profits on our game sales, we're going to increase the sales though because we're not making enough record-breaking money. We need to break that record, and how are we going to do that? Well, we'll just charge you more, the customer. So I think it's a bad look on their part because, on the counterpoint, and I know it's a separate, but when you look at the way Nintendo runs things, and if they had money troubles, there's stories about how the CEO he's cut his pay to not have to lay people off. They handle things a lot differently. So for them to upcharge and people are paying it, you're right. Mario Kart was the only game that launched, but you feel safe buying that too. Like, it's Mario Kart. You know what you're getting. You know you're just going to have fun with it no matter what. And I know they kind of went this whole different way with it being the open world and whatnot, but like people will pay $80 for that because they know what they're getting. But if you paid $80 for um what was the space one last year? Or was it 2 years
Starfield.
ago? Starfield. And you mean to tell me you're going to be happy that you paid $80 for that game? At least on launch. Maybe now you are, but on launch, are you happy that you paid $80 for it?
Yeah, but I think this is a problem. First, I'll go back and kind of agree with your first statement. Um, the speed at which game increases, like price increases, are happening is a lot faster. I feel like we just started paying $70 for games. I feel like it was 60, and then all of a sudden it was just 70, and now we're suddenly talking 80, and it was like, all right. I will say the jump there is happening pretty quickly. I also find it funny that games are basically in one of two categories. Either you are free or you're $70. Like that's kind of it. Like there's very little middle ground. Like there's obviously some, but there just seems to be kind of these two categories in which people are excited for their games. So, but then here's the question: is the question just Microsoft's the wrong person to put an $80 game? Because you're saying Nintendo's fine because you know what you're getting. Let's say Grand Theft Auto comes out next year. We don't know the price for that yet. Well, let's just
People
say
will pay
it's $80.
$150 for that game.
People will pay $150 for that game. And so is it just, oh, Microsoft's just not allowed to do it? Is there a game in the Microsoft catalog that is worth that?
Allowed to? No. But who do I trust to do it? Do I trust Rockstar more than I trust Microsoft? Yes. That's I don't even have to think about that. There's zero consideration given to that question. It is yes, I trust Rockstar more than Microsoft.
Okay, so, but what's crazy to me though is people say I trust Microsoft for Outer Worlds 2 for $70, but definitely not 80. And
Well, I
that's
don't
where I'm
trust them
like,
for any dollars more than my Game Pass dollars.
okay.
But
See, now
but
that
that's
gets a little bit more interesting, but that's not where the fight is. The
sure.
fight is over this $10 difference. And I'm not saying Microsoft is in the right here because your overall theme of this is 100% true, which is their game services grew. They're not selling hardware. They're not selling consoles. They're selling Game Pass and they're selling games. Those things have been successful for them. So you're not wrong. Your overall premise is okay. What's the justification for it? And there really isn't a justification for it. It's just we want more money. We've got shareholders, but I just think again the discussion here about the minute details of this to me are really silly. Just because we know that the $80 game exists, we know that more $80 games are going to be coming. And this Microsoft will try this again. They're going to. I think they're going to wait for some other $80 games to come out. This is what I think will happen. Because so far it's been Mario and then this. I think they'll wait for a few more and then they come out and do it. And then it's just like, dude, this is the standard now. This is the standard.
But we've always
totally
been
fine.
doing this. What do you mean? $80 is just the price tag.
I just don't think they wanted to be the first. This is a game I think they are riding on selling a lot of.
Yeah.
Due to the fact that they're opening it up to all the platforms. So because of that, I just think that, all right, this just isn't the right game at the right time. We'll wait.
No, you could be right. But I think I have the solution. Hear me out. Future hardware sales. Every future hardware sale of Xbox, you are also granted one share of Microsoft. I know that's a lofty price. They're handing out a lot of money. I understand this. Maybe we'll say like a half a share, but you are immediately the shareholder. So now when they say we want more money for the games, you're like, well, it's kind of going back into my pocket because I'm the shareholder. So they can get you on board with it this way.
I'm pretty sure you just described a Ponzi scheme. Did you just describe a Ponzi scheme? The initial investment is buying the console, and then your return is robbing you.
Unlikely. I think that I think it all works out.
But it's not a bad idea, though.
I think it could work. I think it could work. But you did mention that Outer Worlds 2 is going to be cross-platform. So I think it's a good time to bring this up. Which, first of all, I was going to be just that if you haven't joined our Discord yet, if you haven't like, subscribe wherever you are. I'm going to throw this in here accidentally because incidentally, you're probably actually listening right now, unlike the beginning or the end of the episode. So go join our stuff, like us, subscribe wherever you are, and thanks for being here. But speaking of cross-platform games, Forza Horizon 5 is the top-selling game on PlayStation 5 in 2025. So
Yeah,
suck
pretty
on that,
wild.
Sony.
Pretty wild. I saw it was like their store, and it was like the top 3 games in their store were all Xbox games because it was Indiana Jones.
Yep.
I think they were all pre-orders at the time, but it was Indiana Jones, it was Forza, and I think it was Minecraft.
There's I think actually one more too, because I was just recently watching a video where someone had the whole list pulled up, and it was like of the top 20, like some were at least like previously cross-platform, like Minecraft or something. But like, yeah, it's wild.
I mean, it just goes to show. I mean, obviously those are good Xbox games, so I'm not like taking shots at that. But this is more of an indictment on Sony. Sony's had a bad year. Sony's had a bad generation. I know they sold a lot of consoles, but as far as it goes for what were the big games of this generation, it's a whole lot of remakes and remasters. Whole lot of them. Maybe outside of a God of War game in there, it's been really, really quiet on the PlayStation front. So it goes to show Microsoft probably made the right choice and just saying, let's open this up. Let's allow PlayStation here to happily pay for these games. And I know that we've mentioned that on this podcast too. We're both Games Pass subscribers. So if they will take this money to then reinvest it back into future Forza Motorsports games, I'm sorry, Horizon games, rest in peace, Motorsport. I know Andrew's in the chat here mentioning that Motorsport is axed. So, but Horizon, I'm happy. Go ahead and sell those games, make more of them.
Yeah, I mean, Forza Motorsport was, I never got wildly into them by any means. Like, while they were incredible games, I think they knew they weren't going to go into Sony and compete up against Gran Turismo. Assuming they're still making Gran Turismo games, right?
They've made one recently. I don't know if they're still making them. Gotcha. And this was kind of my point when they axed Motorsport. I think it's a niche.
Then yeah, at that point, then they should actually be able to get into it.
I don't think as many people out there buying them. There's just not. I just don't think that's a game that sells.
It's like they need to go back to Gran Turismo 2, like a good balance of sim and arcade. Yeah, just a little bit too sim heavy now, but I think though it still is. It's very telling, and I think it says something for Microsoft to walk into Sony, who is known for Gran Turismo, at least historically, and just take the top spot on their games to begin with, and then do it as a car game on top of that. I think it's pretty funny to me.
Yeah, I mean, don't feel bad for Sony. Sony's going to take a cut out of this deal anyway. So as long as they're buying on that platform, they're still going to take a cut. Obviously, Microsoft's going to take a bigger cut of that, but yeah, everybody kind of wins when it plays like this. So
no, and I think. And that's a good point too, because like Andrew just asked, like, how will Helldivers do on Xbox? I wouldn't be even a little bit surprised if it was in the top 5 or higher, at least within the first like month or so of coming out.
That one will be a little interesting because there is a reputation that Xbox users are all Game Pass subscribers, so they don't buy games anymore. So that will be really telling. If that game actually does sell and does really well on the Xbox platform, it'll be really telling. I know I'm excited to get it. That game looks like it's way up my alley, so I'm excited to play it.
And that's $49.99, right? If I recall,
something like that. I know it's not a full $60 price game. I don't know if it's 40 or if it's 50. I can't recall.
See if I could pull up the price real quick.
I also said that I didn't really care much about game prices, so I was gonna buy it.
No, this is true. Pre-order is actually $39.99, so
that's not a bad price.
$40, and I think that's, we don't need to go back fully onto the whole price description conversation, but I think saying something that you can put out a really good game that's maybe it's not AAA and that's part of it, but like at $40, you can just make a killing,
Yeah.
and it can work. But yeah, so yeah, you'll be excited about this one though, Aaron. And I'm sure you already know. But Battlefield's getting a trailer tomorrow. We are
Yep.
here on July 23rd, so that'll be July 24th. You're probably listening to this well after it comes out. But ahead of that, people have dug into, I don't know, APIs or something, I guess, and as people do, and they are claiming October 10th will be the release date for it. So I'm guessing that historically that probably is about right, right? In terms of time.
Yeah. So, all right. So I've got a ton of thoughts on this. As you know,
I'm
I'm a big
just going to mute
Battlefield fan.
myself and sit back for now.
I'm a big Battlefield fan, so I have a lot of thoughts on this. It is officially Battlefield 6. That isn't surprising. Everybody expected it to be called Battlefield 6. Okay. So, first off, I've been playing the labs sessions for maybe the last month. They open it up to consoles. I get that I'm probably playing a pretty old version of the game, but it needs a lot of cleaning. It doesn't put you directly into a Battlefield menu, so it's kind of interesting. It's almost like its own portal, and for 2 hours every Friday night, they open up that portal, and it's got some game mode that you're playing. But all the character models are really bland looking. Nobody's actually holding their gun. It's just kind of like floating. The games felt really fun, but it feels really glitchy. After playing them, I'm like, oh, so they're like a ways away. Like this isn't very close. I'm kind of surprised by this. Maybe I shouldn't be, but I was like, I feel like they should push this off to next year. But my guess is that the version we're playing is just not the version that they're actually working on. They're probably figuring out some stuff when you're testing it, but it's not just graphically all cleaned up, but they probably have a version that is. So we got a trailer tomorrow. Very excited for it. They also sent out to a bunch of content creators, love those content creators, basically this giant care package thing that invited them to a reveal event. So I think we get a trailer, but then the reveal event, I believe, is next week. That is likely. I'm going to guess that's where you'll get the official launch date, is at the event. In the past, Battlefield usually brought in content creators, and they'll do like a 2-hour session where they all get to play, and then they all can post that content onto their socials. So I'd imagine we get something like that. So what is also surprising about all this? October, you are going toe to toe with Call of Duty. And that's always been a controversial move. You want to get into the holiday season. So coming around October, November isn't a bad move. That's typically what they want. They want to get that fall season. So maybe their thinking was, we don't want to wait a whole nother year for this. And you don't want to launch this in January, February. You want to launch this close to Christmas. It's still really close to Call of Duty, and that used to be a death sentence. You never wanted to compete with them, especially if you were in a very similar genre of game. So this one's going to be interesting. It does sound like it's all but confirmed there is going to be a battle royale mode. From all the rumors, it does sound like that part will be free to play, very similar to what Call of Duty was doing. But yeah, it's just kind of interesting. I've liked the play sessions. I just feel like it probably will need some time to bake in the oven. Oh, the other thing that's sitting over this thing, there was a company that was building out the single player to this game. They sacked that team, and then somebody else was brought in to kind of pick up the pieces. I mean, and it sounds like they were not close. They still had a lot of ways to go on the single player side of that. So will they just scrap that? Will they just say, we'll add that at a later time? To me, from everything I've heard, it just sounds like this could be rushed. It could be, would be classic Battlefield. It'd be rushed, and it would take them 6 months to a year to fix it.
That's what we need is more delays. So
No, give me delays. Give me delays. Just make
give
sure
me
it's
delays
right.
and give me a good game.
They're gonna go charge. What's gonna happen is they're gonna show this trailer. They might open up the pre-orders for this thing. Would I be shocked if it was $80? No, not really. But they're gonna open the pre-orders for this thing, and I will say it and say it again. Do not pre-order games. The only time I've gone against that is I would pre-order something like Helldivers because it already exists, so you already know what the game is. Nobody has seen Battlefield. Nobody will have seen Battlefield until it launches. Do not pre-order the game. Don't do that. I love this series, and I will at some point buy this. The point is, I'm not going to buy it day one if the thing is a jumbled mess. I will wait the 6 months to a year. It'll be cheaper, and it'll be fixed. I'll happily go wait. But yeah, so we're gonna find out soon. But I am excited. I still like Battlefield, so I know at some point I'm gonna enjoy this game. I just don't know if it'll be day one or if it'll be much later.
That just reminded me. I saw this post today from, I think it was on X, I believe. Someone from like 5 years ago was talking about how they use GameStop as their banking by just continuously buying pre-orders, and whenever they need cash, they just go return the pre-orders. And because they just can't be bothered to go to an actual bank, and they work in a mall, so they're already close to the GameStop, so that's just what they do. I can't imagine this was actually a real person doing this, but I posted it in our Discord. It cracked me up. I was laughing at it.
Sounds insane. That is insane behavior right there.
Yeah, because like GameStop had reposted it with just the comment, it's just, please don't do this.
Because it's probably an headache for them, but honestly, it's got to be a headache for all parties. I mean,
just you walk in with a stack of 35. It's like, I need $20. I'll give you Battlefield. I'll give Mario Kart.
Oh gosh, it sounds awful.
Just wild behavior. But speaking of delays, Andrew actually mentioned this ahead of us starting to record. But it came out today again, the year of our Xbox, July 23rd, 2025. It sounds like Fable is getting rumors for some more delays again. So
I mean, they didn't show it.
Not surprising. At what point do we hear that they get the next axe? Like, will they? Because you would have thought they wouldn't have done it to Perfect Dark, right? Like it's kind of a staple. Once they announced it, it was really, it had the hype. Like, I feel like, would it feel any different than canceling Perfect Dark?
Kinda. They're two different stories. I mean, the Perfect Dark story has sounded like it's been a mess pretty much since day one, and it just was always a mess. So that one never sounded like it was in a good state. From my understanding with Fable, so they showed it. They showed kind of that launch trailer, and there was a big blowback on the visuals of it. So they went back and kind of worked on the visuals. They then showed it again, and most people are like, all right, yeah, it does look better. But again, we've seen no gameplay. So yeah, we still don't know anything about that. I'm going to guess that it's far enough along that it's going to make it over the finish line. But who knows? I mean, who knows? That hasn't that been the story of this generation of not even just at Xbox, but gaming in general. Just it's every single week you hear of just layoffs. They're everywhere. It's kind of that just post-COVID, everybody spent billions and billions on bumping up their video games. Then after that, they've just been cut ever since. So, yeah, who knows?
It's just, it's one after another. They just seem like they're just falling over, at least as far as delays. But I don't know, just at some point, just stop giving us all this information. Just start not even shadow dropping, like announce it like 6 months in ahead. Once you know you have a date you can go live with, then start telling us about it. I don't need to know 7 years in advance that like we're beginning to talk about thinking about how we're going to plan for the storyline of a game that we really want to make in 5 years. It's going to be awesome. Let us tell you way more about it than you need to know so that you'll be wildly let down when it never actually happens.
It looks worse. Like it looks worse that you've had, and this has existed in video games for a long time, but I think the state that Microsoft is in right now, it doesn't look good to be announcing so many games and then canceling those games. It just doesn't. And I'm kind of with you. like, I don't know. If you're a year out, show me the game. Other than that, I don't want to know. I don't want to know that this game's there. Go work on it in secret. When it's about a year out from launch, then go ahead and show it.
Yeah, and
And
when
again,
you
this is a
it's launching.
shareholder thing. Don't get the game announced as a shareholder thing. This is the thing I get to go back to the shareholders and say we announced, 50 games at our Xbox showcase, and there's so many new and exciting things that are going to be there. That's all it is. It's just to drum up excitement that things are being worked on. But gosh, I just don't think this makes them look great. That they gobbled up all these studios, they've showed off a ton of games, and now they've slowly just started cutting back on them.
Yeah, I don't know. You're 100% right. Unfortunately, they need to do it for the shareholders, and they've got to get their money. But it's just it sucks as the consumers, like the people who it actually impacts the most are the people who are playing the games, and the shareholders will never even know because they get the double benefit because they get the bump in the share price when they announce it, and then when it gets cut and they're like, oh, they just saved all this money, share
Yep.
price is up for everybody, so they always win. That's why
Yep.
give me a free share, and at least put some money back in my pocket, Microsoft. That's all
That's
I'm
a
saying.
genius Ponzi scheme. I love it.
It's brilliant. There's no way that it could possibly fail. So
No.
we're gonna do that. But yeah, I mean that was about all I had for any big news. I did want to bring this up though because I think it's been almost 7 whole days since we've spoken about Claire Obscure. So I wanted to make sure that I highlighted this story from this week.
We got to pump the ratings. This is how you do it.
Now we can put it in the hashtag. People are going to tune in. They're going to listen. They need to hear it. Charlie Cox, one of the main voice actors in the game, hasn't played a game since Mario 64. He claims, so he does want to play Claire Obscure. Who wouldn't want to play it? You should. If you're not playing it right now, go play it. But
if the last game you played was Mario 64, would you recommend Claire Obscure to that person?
No, not at all. Not even a little bit.
I feel like Claire Obscure is perfect for people that have been playing video games for a really long time because it kind of captures so many elements there, the imagination, the story writing, the visuals, all of that stuff feeds into real gamers. If I was coming from Mario 64, I would be like, what is happening right now? And I'm just trying to picture the parrying system where you just have not done any of that type of stuff. It'd be a nightmare.
Yeah, like I could see if he was like, yeah, I still dabble in games from time to time. Like maybe a couple times a year I'll pick up the sticks or whatever. But Mario 64, there's no middle joystick on this here.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Also,
I don't,
what does he do in his free time?
I don't know. I mean, uber wealthy. I'm sure at this point he's a famous actor and all the likes. He probably does all right. So whatever he wants.
I mean,
so maybe he could get good at it.
Video games are just such a good free time thing. Like, I've picked up on. I know I mentioned this off podcast, but I've picked up a lot on reading recently. I used to read and then I just kind of stopped, so I started picking it back up, and that's been a nice alternative to playing video games all the time. But yeah, it always just cracks me up when people are like, I haven't played since N64. I'm like, what do you do when you're just bored? I mean, my wife, she watches just awful TV. Andrew said in the chat he dates women. That's assuming a whole lot of things.
Also Andrew also just played the video games. I think that's why he knows.
Yeah,
because he just played video games instead of dating. At least for the most part of his life, obviously not now. He tricked somebody.
Good for you, Charlie Cox. I hope you like the game.
I'm sure he will not like the gameplay, but he probably likes the story. I mean, he's in it.
The story's good. Yeah, the story is great.
But is that like a weird thing? I think especially just kind of a side thought on that, especially if you don't play games normally, is it then weird to play a game that you're in versus like say Jack Black, who is a well-known gamer, you're in games, like, of course I'm going to play my own game. I don't know. Just don't know.
Yeah,
Not
that's
like in
kind
a
of
weird,
a good question. You know what?
and not even
That's
weird,
actually
like for him in the sense of like, oh, it's cringy or whatever. But I don't know. I could see where a lot of voice actors are like, I'll just give you my voice and I'm done with this. I don't care.
yeah. I mean, so why that one's kind of interesting to me is there's a lot of actors, and maybe this is normal. I guess just in my head, this isn't like this wouldn't be how I'd react. There's a lot of actors that do not watch themselves in movies. Like they don't. Like they'll watch it at the premiere because they kind of have to be there, and then they never watch it again. Like they just never go back to it, and that's really, really common. So I could see that being a similar instance where you did all the voice acting for it, and you're just kind of like, I don't know, I don't really need to go back to it. I was there, I lived it, so I don't need to. But who knows?
Yeah. Well, again, good luck to him. Play it on story mode. Don't let anyone grief you for it. Just enjoy your fun.
Like
Charlie.
the grief you experienced when we reviewed it.
I did it for like 3 fights, and man, I got
cheater.
Roasted. Absolutely roasted.
Deserved.
Fine, whatever. But anyways, that's all I have. So unless you have anything else that you want to talk about, I think that's it for us. All right.
Hi guys. Well, thanks for joining.
Yeah. Thanks for showing up. Appreciate you, Aaron. Andrew will be back next week. Which
I guess we're gonna have to review something next week, right?
I think we are. Probably gonna do an actual game. Liz might even be back sometime soon. I think there was rumors of that.
We could try the Splitgate 2 beta.
We're gonna do 3 Splitgate episodes. A listener put in our Discord, they went through and counted out all the different series we've done. I think Halo was the most reviewed series of all of them.
That makes sense.
Splitgate is just going to become its own without being the series. So
love it.
That'll be that. But again, I've been Keith and fumbling along this episode, so thanks for being with us.
Play the outro music, Keith.
I'm not going to do that because I don't know how.
He doesn't know how to
do
play
it in post.
This is just going to end.
Bye.